Hey guys, so this is not the sort of video that I expected to make, especially this early on in my channel's lifetime. However, there have been some allegations of me being a hobby tourist, being a shill, things like that. And some of you have made your voices heard on some other issues I've spoken on. And I just want to address all this. A few weeks ago now, I posted a video about the whole femstodes debacle. In that video, I said some pretty controversial stuff, and some of it was pretty mean to certain members of the community. The comments went further in calling me out on that sort of stuff, and while I tried to keep up, it eventually got out of control. These comments were largely made by extremely concerned individuals who were clearly very upset with my words and my actions in said video. And it is to you that I speak to now. The past few weeks have given me a lot of time to reflect on all that was said, both by myself and by you guys. During this period of introspection, I realized that I needed to apologize to those who were hurt or offended by what I said in the femstodes video. And so I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about my actions. I didn't realize that I actually missed a whole lot of crap that made you guys look way worse. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, I'm going to explain why gatekeeping is bad, how inclusion is both beneficial and necessary, and what we can do about this horrible chud behavior that's plaguing this hobby. Welcome back to Starhammer, motherfuckers! So what exactly is gatekeeping? In this context, the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something. New Oxford American Dictionary. Now, in the context, this could mean that people are being snooty over lore knowledge, painting abilities, poor shaming, general competitiveness, all the way to being downright racist, sexist, and all the other ists. The femstodes video was the most recent example of this. When the denizens of r/Horus Galaxy, among others, lost their fucking minds at the very thought of GW selling feminine head sculpts for custodes, and the very idea that women could be muscle mommy super soldiers at all. You can go watch my video to get a better idea of that. I'm not about to rehash all that shit here, but the whole shebang was a glaring wart of sexism and bigoted gatekeeping that I'm sure turned off a lot of prospective players and hobbyists. If I walked into a thread and saw these bozos literally foaming at the mouth because they were women playing the game and enjoying the lore, I'd walk back out too. But why are these people behaving this way? I mean, besides being rejected in high school or being raised by backwards hill people. In this case, I think we have three main culprits: nostalgia, fear of change, and a sense of ownership. So let's talk about nostalgia for a minute. Some of the old guard have an almost obsession with older versions of the game and the lore. By pushing back against shit like femstodes, they might see themselves as this sort of pseudo white knight figure that is preserving what they believe to be the true essence of the game and the hobby. Honestly, it's a lot like when boomers ran about the good old days, but the good old days were when black people had to sit in the back of the bus and you could legally beat your wife. This leads to the second aspect, fear of change. Because they see themselves as preserving the integrity of the game and the hobby, chuds everywhere are deathly afraid of even minute changes to the lore. Case in point, femstodes. Because they see themselves as guard dogs of the pure way that Warhammer should be played / represented, they tend to resent any new people or ideas that come onto the stage. And finally, this leads to the sense of ownership. They think that just because they invested X amount of time, money, or both into Warhammer, that they should be able to dictate who is worthy of joining the ranks and who is not. Besides being general dicks about things, this all gets wadded up into a little ball of nastiness, often directed at women, LGBT people, and basically anyone else they deem as invasive. They unironically begin to think that the Imperium are the good guys, and deem anything they don't like as woke, whatever that fucking means. Warhammer is for everyone. Except poor people, apparently. You can go watch my last video to find out more about that, but it's also not for gatekeepers. GW themselves said as much in their statement of the same title. Let's read that together real quick. One of the great powers of our hobby is its ability to bring people together in common cause, to build bonds and friendships that cross divides. We believe in and support a community united by shared values of mutual kindness and respect. Our fantasy settings are grim and dark, but that is not a reflection of who we are or how we feel the world should be. We will never accept or condone any form of prejudice, hatred, or abuse in our company or in the Warhammer hobby. We will continue to diversify the cast of characters we portray through miniatures, art, and storytelling so everyone can find representation and heroes they can relate to. And if you feel the same way, wherever and whoever you are, we're glad you're part of the Warhammer community. If not, you will not be missed. I shouldn't have to be out here to explain why gatekeeping is bad, but here I am doing it anyway. But GW isn't pandering and nobody wants them to. Warhammer, by its own nature, is an incredibly diverse universe. You got species of all shapes and sizes, you've got non-binary chaos gods, and your heroes are transhuman greased up muscle dudes. The point is, there is something for everyone. So to see people this opposed to diversity when they themselves are defending such diversity is a wild paradox to me, and quite frankly, I don't think the chuds have the self-awareness to figure that out. Whenever you attempt to fight diversity, you fall deeper into this weird, self-righteous circle jerk of losers who've never kissed a woman and don't wipe their ass. You become this hateful, ignorant internet edgelord that spends more time beating off to femboy Satire and discussing how pronouns are the downfall of black library novels than actually playing the game. When new people are rejected from the hobby, you are rejecting valuable ideas and insights that you otherwise might not have come across. Maybe that new person plays the same army as you, and they figured out a better way to implement some units. Maybe they pointed out something in the rules that you've never noticed before. Maybe that person has some sick-ass painting skills and their models are the best looking on the table. These are all really basic examples, but the point remains that gatekeeping prevents valuable takes and potential friendships purely for some misguided idea of what the hobby should be. Proponents of this sort of behavior may argue that it keeps people out who don't take it seriously, and that it actually acts as a sense of quality control by vetting potential newbies. Sorry fam, but if anyone needs to be checked out by quality control, it's you. You can't sit here and shit on people and then wonder why you're getting pushed out of the hobby by everyone who's normal. You can't argue that you're protecting the sanctity of anything when at the end of the day, Warhammer is a fucking board game. What are you, 12? You can't sit here and tell me you're doing right by anyone when you're telling folks to find a new hobby because they can't afford new models. And look, I get it, change can be scary. Riddle me this, Batman. What exactly is changing that is so egregious that you have to shit and piss yourself this fucking hard? Comparing women characters to something Orwellian? And you tell me that women need to be the ones that are checked? Brother, touch some fucking grass after this comment, because 1 month later, and I still don't know what to fucking say to this. This comment lives in my head rent fucking free. But with all that said, what can we do about it? Well, like I said in my last video, the best way to get new folks into this hobby is to extend a helping hand. Offer to let someone try one of your armies. Show them cost-effective solutions if money is an issue. Or walk them through your favorite part of the lore. The most important thing that I think that we can do as experienced players is to act as mentors for people coming in. People will come into this hobby and not take it seriously, and that's fine. Let them cook. They'll eventually see that this stuff isn't for them, and they'll dip. It's not that big of a deal, I promise. You don't have to gatekeep and be a douche to keep those people out. They'll find the door on their own. Most people who want to get into this hobby and that are in this hobby are sensible, fun people who just want to vibe. So open your mind a little bit, take a step back, and think about the shit you say and the shit you do. Warhammer doesn't need protecting, okay? It's not your Primarch waifu body pillow. What needs protecting are the new people who come in here just to play a game, get engrossed in the lore, and have fun. If anything is sacred about Warhammer, it's the power of togetherness that it has. So I encourage you all that have been in it for a bit to do some introspection and make sure that you aren't being total shitbags. Remember, it's fun to pretend to be theocratic, intolerant imperialists. It's not fun to actually be one. Speaking of unfun people, let's take a look at these guys.
Can you write a book about trans disabled lesbian chaos knights of House Latinx who identify as Space Wolf Rune Priest who educates a group of wolfmen on proper pronoun usage in the presence of the newly returned Shaman Russ?
You know, this guy thought he was the baddest motherfucker on Twitter after sending out this absolute banger.
Oh, way to own the libs! Pronouns bad. Take that, Black Library.
As I'm sure you all know, nobody is writing ridiculous shit like this. Nobody with an actual brain and real-world problems gives a damn about what a fictional character goes by. It's just giving me this guy vibes from behind that screen. You can't like Warhammer unironically, it's a satire! 20 years ago, maybe. Ah, yes, theocratic fascism is the best shit ever. I take a fantasy game set 40,000 years in the future completely seriously. The Imperium are the good guys standing up against the woke Tau Empire and the Tyranids. Bro, shut the fuck up. Not everything in Warhammer is satire, sure, but everything in it is big and over the top and cranked up to the max because it is a caricature of totalitarian regimes and related themes. If you lack the media literacy to grasp this very simple concept, please go back to grade school. Warhammer is first and foremost a setting. It is not meant to be taken literally. While it's fun to roleplay at the tabletop and call your friend a dirty fucking heretic for playing Death Guard, wipe your butt, stinky Death Guard players. It's not fun to actually be a theocratic fascist IRL. You're supposed to pretend to be the bad guys, not be the bad guys. Let's not forget the Imperium are not the good guys. Canonically, it is described as the bloodiest and most oppressive regime imaginable. Yet these mooks actually celebrate it. Buddy, if you want to live in the Imperium, you need to get your fucking head examined. Because I promise you, basement-dwelling Twitter user, you aren't going to be this guy, you would be this guy. Helbrick says anyone claiming to be any letters after the LGBT is the new vegan. How do we know? They tell us every 5 minutes. Bro, the right can't fucking meme, I swear to God. This is just giving me like major Facebook boomer vibes. You know, the kind of shit your racist, homophobic uncle shares to offend you and thinks he's so clever that this one speaks for itself. So this is the meme, but are y'all ready to see this comment?
Oh no, my hobby is full of tourists. Woke tourist coomers, that's all you talk about. But look, there they are. I'm sick of tourists and anti-tourists. But they're killing my hobby. I just want them to go away. You complaining about tourists is as bad as the tourists themselves. When the attackers are already within the walls, neutrality is treason. A lot of these people are inevitably tourists themselves, going undercover and using gaslighting tactics to try and disrupt attempts to fight back. They're saboteurs, creating a smokescreen of bullshit to cover up enemy action. Keep going. We're having an effect. If they're actually trying to shut you up, it means you're an obstacle for them, which means you're doing something right.
You got me. I'm an undercover Wokey sent by BlackRock to infiltrate and destroy Warhammer 40k. Bro, schizo brain is real with this one. Where do I even start? Anyone who calls these guys out is gonna be labeled a tourist or a shill for GW. I can't tell you how many fucking times in my comments that I've been called one, both, or a combination of the two, or seeing somebody peddling some conspiracy about the woke globalists at BlackRock that are forcing GW to make women characters in their male power fantasy. What effect exactly are you having? Keeping decent people out of the hobby by sending them death threats and being bigoted? What a badge of honor that is that you're protecting a tabletop game. Protecting. Literally, nobody is trying to do a CIA psyop on Warhammer, and this post should be a reminder to all of you to take your meds. People just want to play the game, man. If they want to come to my table and say, hey, all my Marines are chicks, you know what I'm going to say? All right, bet, let's roll off, see who goes first. Although I will admit, being labeled a saboteur is actually kind of cool. So if y'all want to keep making me sound like I'm more of a secret agent than I already am, then I'm all for it. Call me whatever you want. But while poking fun at chuds like this is a lot of fun, let's not forget the real reason why we do it. To call them on their crap. Inclusivity is good for everyone. It brings new ideas, perspectives, and friends to the tabletop. It's our duty as experienced players to show new folks the ropes and help them get engrossed in this universe that we love so much. People who want to be tourists or whatever will eventually find their own way out. I don't know about y'all, but Warhammer is too expensive of a hobby to be a tourist in. Warhammer is for everyone, and I want to say that you, dear viewer, are always welcome in it and on this channel. Disagreeing is fine and good. It's what makes us human and helps us understand each other. Being a bigoted chud, however, is not. With all that said, that's all I got for this one, folks. Remember to call out bigotry and gross shit whenever you see it. Remember to wear deodorant to the Apocalypse tournament this week, and remember to like and subscribe as well. I'll see y'all in the next one. Toodles.